Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with episode number 33 of Tales from the Tackle Zone Season 2. This is our series that's dedicated to our Blood Bowl League and Blood Bowl battle reports, and this is battle report number 33. It is the Blood Bowl Champions. So after 32 very long battle reports, it all has come to this culminating moment between these two teams to determine once and for all who is champion of the Blood Bowl. We have the New World Conference champions, the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators, played by my friend Senior Chang. And as you can see, the stands are chock full of different orcs as well as lizardmen who are here to support their team to represent the New World Conference. Go up against my little sister Shade of the champions of death of the Shambling Undead. And as you can see over here, these are the champions of the Old World Conference, and the entire Undead force has come out of their shadowy crypts in order to witness this game. As you can see, we are once again playing in O'Reilly Hall. We have a jam-packed stadium full of fans to see once and for all who will be the overall champion of our league. So now the Old World Conference champions and the New World Conference champions will play it out. We're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll show you videos of both teams, as well as photos of their rosters. If you want to see exactly what my friends are bringing for this battle report, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So with that being said, let's get the game a-rolling. So we are back now for the first half with the kickoff event. So let's talk about exactly what ended up happening so far. So starting with my friend Senior Chang, he's got 4 rerolls on this one because he has extra training as a deuceman. He's also got a fan factor of 7 on this one, and he will be taking the offense in the first half. And on this side is my little sister Shay with her team, the Champions of Death and the Shambling Undead. She has 3 rerolls as well as 3 bribes. At the same time, she's got a fan factor of 6, and she also has the star player Bryce the Slice Campbell also on the field as well. So for the kickoff on this one, of course, the ball ended up being a high kick. So my friend Senior Chang elected Chameleon Skink player number 8, Doritos Locos, in order to intercept the ball, and he managed to catch it no problem. So we will start off the first half with the Chameleon Skink Doritos Locos in possession of the ball. So with that being said, we'll go directly to the top of turn number 1 and be right back after my friend Senior Chang's activations. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 1 for my friend Senior Chang, as well as the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. And as you can see, my friend Senior Chang just exploded upon the scene, just laying waste to everything on the line of scrimmage, putting all of his Saurus blockers and putting them in the blocking position to mark opponent players so that way they can't as easily escape as much. Now, probably the most dramatic thing that took place was 2 things. First of all, player number 2, Quesarito, throws a block directly into Bryce the Slice Campbell, managed to puncture through his armor, rolling a 10 for the armor penetration on that one. At the same time, rolled a perfect boxcar to determine what the injury is going to be, and put him out of action right now with a badly hurt result. So just like that, Bryce the Slice Campbell will no longer be participating in this battle report. So that part was absolutely brutal for my little sister Shade, because a lot of her tactics actually revolved around him using that chainsaw ability to slice people up. Now, meanwhile, while that took place, probably the most important thing was player number 5, Bel Grande, throws a block to player number 2, Saburu Naughton, I believe his name is. That's the one, the Mummy player number 2. Managed to put a knockout result on him, so he's currently in the knockout box as well. After that, of course, my friend Senior Chang then moved forward with the Saurus blockers, marking different players within the Chevron defense, brought his Skinks into the line of scrimmage, as well as Chameleon Skinks in tow as well. And that pretty much makes up the turn for this one. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for my little sister Shade. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for my little sister Shade and the Champions of Death. Unfortunately, my little sister Shade, it was pretty much a short turn. First of all, she decided to roll the regeneration real quick on Bryce the Slice Campbell and managed to pass the regen save. So because he does go out of the casualty box and goes directly into the reserve, so he's still good. It's just that he won't be able to participate into the next drive. However, for my little sister Shade, though, Disaster Strike. She attacked with her mummy directly into Big Gordita, the Croxagore. Unfortunately, she rolled a both player down result, so she used her brawler skill in order to make sure to re-roll that, but she rolled a player down. And since it's so early in the first half of the game, she didn't want to use one of her re-rolls, so because of that, she just takes the hit and causes immediate turnover for turn number 2 for our friend Senior Chang. So we'll be right back after his activations. So we're now back with the top of turn number 2 from our friend Senior Chang, and on the pitch, he managed to break through the lines and main directly towards the end zone for my little sister Shade. So first of all, managed to push a couple of guys around for the chevron defense here in the back, pushing him out to the outskirts and also creating some holes. At the same time, he also sends a couple of swords blockers to go into blocking positions as well to mark players, etc. And then finally, with this little gap right here made in the line of the holes, he then sends in both Baja Blast at the front, rushing forward 2 squares, followed closely behind by Doritos Locos, and making their way directly towards the end zone to score the very first touchdown. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for my little sister Shade. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 2 for my little sister Shade, and it's a pretty short-lived turn for the most part. She mainly just stood up most of her guys. However, the big plays took place over here where this skeleton managed to put a stun result on this skink up here, and the big play was Huchai, which is one of the ghouls. He managed to escape the tackle zone over here, made it all the way over here and did a blitz action directly into Doritos Locos. All he did manage to do is manage to make a push, so because I shoved him down 1 square. And that's really about it. So that being said, that pretty much makes it my little sister Shade's turn. We go directly to the top of turn number 3 for our friend Senior Chang. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for my friend Senior Chang and the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. And touchdown number 1 by the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, over in the line of scrimmage, they do manage to knock down a couple of guys and get people out of the way. What this does, it frees up the T-Captain, Brief Supreme, to come and actually do a couple of things. First of all, it does a blitz action directly against a Huchai, pushing him directly to the side. Same thing with this Swords Blocker, manage to push this guy to this side as well. Meanwhile, Quesarito does another push action and manages to shove Amaten Afe, which is white player number 6, managed to push directly into the crowd. He suffers a seriously hurt, so because he goes in recovery, he will miss out his next game. My little sister Shade does try to roll for the regen, but unfortunately she rolls a 1, so because of that, he is out of the game for the rest of it. What this did is it freed up the tackle zones for a little Doritos Locos to make it all the way to the directly to the end, which he does, scores his first touchdown as well as 3 star player points. So we'll be right back after my friends re-rack. We'll be right back for the rest of the game. So now we're back after the kickoff. As you can see, my friend Senior Chang has decided to take up his column defense that he's been using his last few games and been working so successfully for him. At the same time, my little sister Shay managed to do this little kind of formation over here as well, where she has her whites and ghouls in the center, as well as her Bryce Slice Campbell over here on the side as well. Managed to bring that guy out of the reservist box because he managed to pass his regen test. Unfortunately for my little sister Shade, she was not able to bring out one of her mummies, but that's perfectly fine though, because she has a ton of zombies that she could use. And so because of that, the ball ended up landing over here directly. Now, when it came to the kickoff event, the kickoff again, once again, was high kick. And Huchai, the ghoul, ran up to that position, managed to catch the ball no problem. He is currently in possession of it. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for my little sister Shade. We'll be right back after this. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 3 for my little sister Shade. And her turn was actually pretty short-lived, but not without causing some damage. So first of all, she does manage to use Bryce Slice Campbell, does a blitz action directly into Quesarito, cuts through his armor, and puts him directly into the knockout box. So right now the chainsaws are a-roaring. At the same time over here, and the main center pitch over here, managed to push back a couple of Croxagore as well as the Swords Blocker here, making a beautiful line to cut through the line of scrimmage right over here in the center. However, Disaster Strike Zone, the zombie does try to throw a block directly into Beef Supreme. He rolled both down results, but Beef Supreme has block, so he's perfectly fine, but the zombie isn't, so he goes crashing to the ground and causes immediate turnover. And my little sister Shade, of course, did try to re-roll it and use one of her re-rolls to do so, but it still ended up being the same result, so because of that, she still lost. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for my friend, Senior Chang. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for my friend Senior Chang, and as you can see on the pitch, some dramatic things have happened. First of all, he starts going on the offensive on this one, even though he's playing defensively. Going across the line of scrimmage, looks like trying to swarm around Huchai and try to go around these open areas here and try to go directly towards the school and take him out. Now, the reason why this was able to happen is because of this source blocker here managed to pull a blitz, running down over here, knocking over Bryce Slice Campbell, so knocked him over. At the same time, maneuver a couple of source blockers directly here in the line of scrimmage to prevent this entry point from being exploited, which means that my little sister Shade has to find new ways and avenues of approaches in order to slip through. If she's pretty good, she could probably slip through over here if she's fast enough. So we'll see exactly what she does. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for my little sister Shade. So that takes me to the bottom of turn number 4 for my friend, my little sister Shade, with her team. And as you can see, some dramatic things have taken place on the pitch. First thing that she managed to do is managed to slip right through this main line over here, using her mummy in order to push back one of these source players as well. What that did is it managed to make a little gap here for her ghouls to slip through. So right off the front, we have Petsu the Shadows making all the way through, followed by Hoochai as well, closely behind, and then trying to slip their way directly towards the end over here and try to make it directly to the end zone. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 5 for my friend, Senior Chang. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for my friend, Senior Chang, as well as the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. And as you can see, some dramatic things have taken place on the pitch. First of all, this player over here managed to push Bryce the Slice Campbell directly into the penalty, into the crowd. So because I did suffer a serious injury, but however, my little sister Shade used the regeneration save to bring him back, so he's back into reserves. So it looks like he's still in the game, but every single time they do, they eat up one of their bribery rules. So it looks like my friend Senior Chang trying to control the battlefield doing that as well. At the same time, he does try to do a blitz action with one of his skinks directly into this ghoul Hoochai, but all he managed to do is push him forward. So because they did sort of the backfield with a couple more skinks as well as chameleon skinks. Meanwhile, at the same time, Beef Supreme managed to throw a block directly into one of the zombies. I believe it was Zeb was his name. Managed to crack through his armor and put a serious hurt on him. So because that, he will not be participating in the rest of the battle port and will miss his next game as well. And then finally, this little source block over here managed to push this wag dangerously close directly towards the edge. And that pretty much makes up the turn for this one. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of the turn for my little sister Shade. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for my little sister Shade and Disaster Strikes. So let's talk about what ended up happening first of all. So through some creative blitzing over here with Nath, which is the skeleton where he actually goes for it, rushes all the way down, manages to put a power result directly on Doriel's Locos, and managed to knock him over as well. He decides not to follow through, so that way there's an opening for a Hoochai to basically go into it. Now from there, this moment then throws a block down over here, manages to push these skinks out of the way. So because that Petsu the Shadow goes directly to the end zone to try to catch the ball, and then of course Hoochai also moves his maximum allowance and passes the ball. Unfortunately for Shade, she rolled a 1, so she of course rolled up one of her rerolls, so she only's got one reroll left. And then when she rolled a second time, she rolled a 2. So because of the shot misses, goes directly into the crowd. After the ball got thrown around these corners here for a little while, eventually it did settle over here, right next to my friend Senior Chang's little skink character right over there. So we kind of interested exactly to see how this game develops. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 6 for my buddy Senior Chang and the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 6 for my friend Senior Chang. And as you can see on the pitch, some dramatic things have occurred. So first of all, this little guy over here, I believe that guy's name is Little Soft Taco is his name. Soft Taco actually swoops in, picks the ball, managed to go for all the way over here to the top to the second half of the field, making his way directly towards the end zone as well. I believe he also sprinted forward 3 extra squares as well, using his sprint skill to do so. Meanwhile, over here, more damage and chaos takes place over here on the pitch with Beef Supreme. Managed to take out another one of the zombies. I believe his name is Hathor. Player number 14 managed to put a casualty on him, and also with a badly hurt injury. And at the same time, player number 3, Crunchwrap, also threw, I believe it was Edgefata Sanut, which is one of the white blitzers. Managed to push him directly in the crowd and got a casualty on that guy as well, and he's also seriously hurt, so he'll miss out his next game as well. Unfortunately for my little sister Shade, she did fail her regeneration saves for both these guys, so because of that, she's got 4 players down right now, so it is very, very intense matchup. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 6 for my little sister Shade. So that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 6 for my little sister Shade, and unfortunately for her team was pretty much short-lived. She did try to send as much as she could forward with sending Hoochai as well as Anif, the skeleton, trying to tackle this little guy over here, but unfortunately she just didn't have enough squares to move in order to pull that off as well. So because of that pretty much ends her turn, which takes directly to the top of turn number 7 for my friend Senior Chang. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 7 for my friend Senior Chang. And touchdown number 2 for the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators, with Soft Taco taking the ball across the field, rushing for it once, and landing a second touchdown for the team. So currently right now, the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators are leading the game at 2-0 at this point. So we're going to take a quick break real quick. My friends are going to re-rack their players and we'll come back for the rest of the game. We'll be right back after this. So now we're back for the kickoff once again. So as you can see, my friends have re-racked their players. My friend Senior Chang has pretty much gone with the same call defense he's been using for most of the season. It's been working out pretty good for him so far, so no harm, no foul there. At the same time, my little sister Shay kind of goes in this line formation too. She is kind of a bit of a handicap because she has 4 players that are currently out. However, when the ball did kick off, of course, the ball scattered over here and it ended up being brilliant coaching. So both my little sister and my friend Senior Chang rolled D6s, adding their assistant coaches. None of them have assistant coaches, so because of the highest D6 won, and my little sister did. So she has 2 re-rolls for this rest of the game, for the rest of this first half. So with the ball being kicked off, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 7 for my little sister Shade. We'll be right back after this. So that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 7 for my little sister Shade, and as you can see on the pitch, quite a bit of dramatic movement has taken place. So let's talk about what happened first. So first of all, my little sister activates Bryce the Slice Campbell, which is her star player, does a blitz action directly from the wide zone directly into player number 1, Beef Supreme, the team captain. Managed to cut through his armor and actually rolled up a casualty on that one and rolled a perfect 16, killing Beef Supreme. However, my friend Senior Chain does have an apothecary, so he's able to re-roll that result. Got a badly hurt roll instead, and since he has an apothecary, he automatically goes directly into the reserve box. Now, that does use up the apothecary for this turn. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 8 for my friend Senior Chang, and as you can see on the pitch, some dramatic things end up happening. So first of all, this Saurus blocker here actually ends up doing a blitz action going all the way around the backfield here and also rushing for it twice, trying to take out Huchai, but unfortunately all he managed to do was a push him, so he pushed him over 1 extra square. Now from there, Senior Chang then has a bunch of his skinks, both chameleon skinks and normal skinks, swarm around Petsu the Shadow, so that way if a throw is made, they can intercept it or deflect it or, try to stop this guy from actually escaping a tackle zone, and that's pretty much about it. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 8 for my little sister Shade. So that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 8, and unfortunately for my little sister Shade, she did try to gamble big to win big, but unfortunately she just kind of couldn't pull through. So first of all, Bryce the Slice Campbell managed to put another knockout result on another Saurus blocker, cutting right through his armor as well. Getting really lucky with the rolls from our friend Senior Chang, so where these guys don't get killed and only just get knocked out at this point. Petsu the Shadow, though, does manage to do a couple of amazing things, slipping through the cracks with rolling perfect 6s to escape these tackle zones and made it all the way to the end zone. And then, of course, Huchai tries to do a Hail Mary pass, tries to throw it, but unfortunately for my little sister Shade, she just couldn't do it. She burned up her very last re-roll in order to try to get it, and unfortunately just couldn't sink it. So the ball scatters all the way up here to the top of the table, and that pretty much closed out the first half of the game, going 2-0 in favor of the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. So with that being said, we're going to go to halftime real quick. We're going to switch up the teams and then carry on with the second half of the game. We'll be right back after this. So we're now back for kickoff for the second half of the game. Once again, my friend Senior Chang has 4 re-rolls and gets all those re-roll backs. At the same time, my little sister Shade also gets her 3 re-rolls back. And of course, with the kickoff table, the ball actually scattered all the way to the end zones because I got a touchback. So Huchai, which is the ghoul, is in possession of the ball again. But when we rolled it for the kickoff table, it was blitz. So my friend Senior Chang got to roll D3 plus 3 team members to actually move and rolled a 5 on that one. So 6 members of his team got to move up, do normal movement actions. As you can see here, basically swarmed the pitch with skinks as well as chameleon skinks on the wide zone. Mark this zombie player as one of his Saurus warriors, and then have one of his Saurus blockers over here throw a block directly into Bryce the Slice Campbell. Managed to cut through his armor and knock him out as well. So he will not be participating in the rest of this drive. And since my little sister Shade is out of bribe counters because she used all of them for up to this point, Bryce the Slice Campbell will not be able to participate for the rest of the game once this drive ends. Was not really as critical in this game as my little sister was hoping for, but them's the breaks. That's Blood Bowl for you. So that being said, we're going to go directly to the top of turn number 1 for my little sister Shade, and we'll be right back after her activations. So now we're at the top of turn number 1 for the second half for my little sister Shade, and as you can see on the pitch, some dramatic things have occurred. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So Subaru Naughton, this mummy over here, decided to do a multiple block. Managed to push this sword blocker back one line and actually slipped in real quick and then pushed down the line of scrimmage and said there was nowhere for these guys to go because of being blocked by another player. It shifted them all down 1 additional square down the line. And the mummy up here at the top did exactly the same thing, pushing this guy out of the way here, trying to make some of the avenues of approach for the undead to come through. By doing that, what they actually did is made a gap that kind of broke right through here. the line of scrimmage, so my little sister Shade took advantage of that. Petsu the Shadow went for it twice, rushing forward 2 squares over, making his maximum move allowance, and then Huchai did exactly the same thing, running directly from the backfield, moving up 2 squares with rushing and then throwing the pass, throwing a perfect 6. So because of that, Petsu the Shadow catch that ball, so because he's now in possession of it, earning him a star player point. At the same time, he's wide open and there's no one out there in the backfield to kind of stop him. My friend Senior Chang got a little too aggressive with his defense on this one. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 from our friend Senior Chang. We'll be right back after his activations. So that takes us right to the bottom of turn number 1 from our friend Senior Chang, and as you can see on the pitch, some dramatic things have occurred once again. Once again, my friend buddy is kind of dominating the pitch right now, kind of pushing guys away from the mid zone. At the same time, he had one of his source blockers to blitz action directly into to Petsu the Shadow. Unfortunately, it was an unsuccessful roll, so because of my friend Senior Chang decided to burn one of his re-rolls, managed to get a push instead, because I only managed to push Huchai up 1 square. However, did manage to bring a couple chameleon skinks as well as both the skinks back in order to try to intercept this guy and keep him from running away as well. So that pretty much makes up turn number 1 from our friend Senior Chang. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for my little sister, the Shade. So that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2 for my little sister Shade, and touchdown number 1 for the Shambling Undead and the Champions of Death. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, my little sister activated this Mummy Super Monoton match to push this Source Warrior out of the way, which then allowed this Ghoul, Huchai, to throw a block directly into this Source Warrior as well. Now he is weaker, so when it came out to the 2 results, it either came out as a stumble or as a push. So because of my friend here, Chain got to choose, so he pushed the guy out of the way. Now, that did take away his tackles and what kind of helped out, so allowed this guy to only have to do a modified check against 1 player. Rolled 5s and 6s for the most part in order to escape. Alyssa Shade did have to burn up a reroll for the very last one to escape the tackle zone, and then from there, went for it and rushed through and made it directly to the end, scoring a touchdown, the very first touchdown for the Champions of Death. So now the game is at 2-1 in favor for the Lizardmen. My friends are going to re-rack their players real quick and be right back for kickoff. So we're now back for the kickoff. As you can see, my friend Senior Chang decided to go with a full-blown offense, putting all of his Source Warriors on the line, where he's got his Skinks and Chameleon Skinks in the backfield as well. Now, originally, my little sister Shade had gone with like an anchor defense, with most of her guys deployed back here in the second rank. However, when it came for the kickoff, she managed to kick the ball directly over here next to the edge where this Chameleon Skinks is located at, and she got, I believe it was Brilliant Defense, I think is what the name of the rule was, where you roll D3 and +3 open players in the kicking team can reposition. So she decided to put more of her skeletons direct on the line of scrimmage in order to help out some of her defensive players. She took her ghouls and also deployed them over here in the wide zone, so that way she can sweep in and try to grab the ball and try to secure another touchdown if she's able to. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 from our friend Senior Chang, and we'll be right back after his activations. So that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2 from my friend Senior Chang, and as you can see on the pitch, he pretty much dominated this entire turn, pushing back most of the line of scrimmage off of the midfield at the same time. What this did is open up the flanks for Senior Chang to send a couple of his Skinks flying through directly towards the end zone. At the same time, this Source blocker did throw a block directly into Huchai, managed to push him directly towards the edge, allowing this opening to take place, with the Chameleon Skinks moving into the top there, followed by Skinks down over here to make it directly to the end zone. And that pretty much makes up turn number 2 from our friend Senior Chang. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3, bottom of turn number 2 for my little sister Shade. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for my little sister Shade, and as you can see on the pitch, a more dramatic movement has taken place. So first of all, my little sister Shade, this sends in one of her mummies to do a blitz action going directly into these Chameleon Skinks, managed to push one out of the way and get within the front of the other one as well. At the same time, her 2 ghouls, Petsu the Shadow as well as Huchai, managed to escape the tackle zones and sweep back directly towards the infield over here in order to block any Skinks and Chameleon Skinks are making their way. At the same time, reinforces her line of scrimmage with some more zombie players and skeleton players. And that pretty much makes it my little sister's turn for this one. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 3 from our friend Senior Chang. So that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 3 from our friend Senior Chang, and touchdown number 3 for the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, up here on the top, this Source Warrior does a blitz action directly into this mummy, managed to knock him down with a stumble result and push him over, and at the same time creating this entryway here to go through. From there, my friend Senior Chang then took Cinnabite as well as Baja Blast, having them moving directly into position up here, as well as Cinnabite directly to the end zone. And then from there, of course, Doritos Locos moved up his maximum moon allowance, rushed for it twice and threw it, landed a perfect 6 for the throw, as well as a perfect 5 to catch, earning him a star player point and 3 star player points for Cinnabite for scoring the 3rd touchdown for this team. So currently now the team is sitting at 3-1 in favor for the Lizardmen. My friends will be right back after the re-rack, and we'll be right back for the kickoff. So now we're back for the kickoff event. As you can see, my friend Senior Chain decided to go back to his traditional column defense. He didn't do that the last time, that actually cost him a touchdown. So he decided to err on the side of caution, even though he outnumbers, and decides to go with this classic offense there. Meanwhile, my little sister Shay decides to kind of go with this kind of anchor-shaped kind of offense that she's got going on. And because, you know, she's trying to score this touchdown, trying to go throw the ball into the end zone and try to get as many points as possible. Now, for the ball did scatter all the way directly to the back, so it ended up being a touchback. So once again, Pet to the Shadow is now in possession of the ball. At the same time, for the kickoff event, it was cheering fans, so of course my 2 friends rolled off. My little sister won and got Fouling Frenzy, which means that anybody commits a foul during this drive will get 1 additional star player point. It doesn't work out too well for my little sister because she only has a very few left-of players, but for my friend Senior Chain, though, he's got plenty of skinks in reserve, so he could possibly commit fouls using his skinks in order to cause problems. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for my friend, for my little sister, and we'll be right back after activations. So we're back to the top of turn number 4 for my little sister Shade, and as you can see on the line of scrimmage, she managed to punch through the line of scrimmage over here as well, kind of busting up the defense. What this does allows her to kind of try to slip through over here directly to these 2 columns over here. As you can see, she brought both of her goals down. Hopefully she can run the gauntlet by going through, at the same time marking these source players so they can't really get much in terms of tackle zones as well. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for my friend Senior Chang. So that takes a look at the bottom of turn number 4 for my friend Senior Chang, and as you can see on the pitch, some more devastation has taken place. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, a couple of these Source blockers managed to knock out a couple of the skeletons that were actually standing in their way as well. A couple more Source warriors going into order teamwork against the mummies. But probably the most dramatic thing was Big Gordita managed to put a wound directly on Wapawet, managed to knock him down and actually fouled him without being caught as well. Cracked through his armor and put a badly hurt reaction on him as well. It's because he will not be able to participate for the rest of the game. My little sister Shade failed a regen save, so because that he is currently out, which means that he also, Big Gordita, earns additional star player point. He didn't get caught doing it because he didn't roll a double, so he's perfectly fine. Meanwhile, from there, because they managed to knock out a couple of these skeletons, some of these chameleon skinks came in, tried to do a blitz directly onto Petsu. The Shadow managed to push him back. But at the same time, though, he's being caged and surrounded on both sides by skinks and chameleon skinks, so it could be pretty bad at the same time. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 5 for my little sister Shade. So that takes us to the top of turn number 5 for my little sister Shade, and unfortunately for her, her term was pretty much short-lived. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, tries to send in Huchai, try to go directly out of the tackle zone and try to slip through directly to the end line of scrimmage to make it directly towards the end zone. Unfortunately for my little sister Shade, she failed her re-rolls for dodge. She failed to dodge the first time, but since he's got the dodge skill, she decided to re-roll it. Still rolled a 1. He burned up one of her re-rolls in order to try to do it again, but unfortunately she failed, so because of it, he falls to the ground and causes immediate turnover, which is kind of rough for my little sister. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 5 from our friend Senior Chang. So that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 5 from our friend Senior Chang, and touchdown number 4 for the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. So right now the game is right now at 4-1 in favor of the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators for the Lizardmen. So let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, Big Gordita does a blitz action directly from the side over here, and the crosser goes smashing directly into Pet to the Shadow with a power result, which caused the ball to bounce back 1 square. So from there, what ended up happening is that this guy over here, Crunchy Soft Taco, makes it all the way around directly towards the end zone, rushing for it twice. And then Baja Blast, the chameleon skink, runs up, scoops the ball, goes for it, and then throws the ball. Now, originally, the skink actually failed to catch the ball, but my friend Senior Chang burned up his very last reroll in order to make sure he rerolled it again, and it passed the second time, earning additional star player points to these characters, as well as a 4th touchdown. And at this point, that my little sister Shade decides to call the game at this point. There's no way she's going to be able to tie the game up into the end, so because of that, she concedes the game. With that being said, that pretty much ends our Blood Bowl season. Season number 2 with our league, with the New World Champion and the New World Conference taking over the championships, and the overall champions are Senior Chang and his Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going directly to the after action report, because this game, as well as this season, is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is the part of the battle report where we talk about what went well, what went poorly, what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is a Tale for the Tackle Zone Season 2, Battle Report number 33. This was the Blood Bowl Championship, and unfortunately for my little sister Shade, she did lose in this one. So let's go out and talk about what happened to her. So for the Champions of Death, she actually suffered quite a bit with serious injuries as well as badly hurt, but it doesn't really matter though because these players will make full recovery because it's the end of the season. Those players were White player number 5, Achba Sanut, as well as White player number 6, Amatin Afe, Zombie player number 8, Seb, Zombie player number 13, Wepwawet, and Zombie player number 14, Hathor. Now, for advances on this one, Skeleton player number 12, Thatcha the Gifted, actually was promoted with MVP for this one, so because I did put him over the top, so he chose the block skill and increased his gold value by 20,000 gold pieces. Now, for dedicated fans, Shay didn't lose any dedicated fans, so because of that, she still has a fan factor of 5. And as for winning, she scored 40,000 gold pieces from this game, as well as earning 60,000 gold pieces from coming in second place overall in the league, gave her a grand total of 100,000 gold pieces. She didn't recruit anybody at this time, but she did hire a mortuary assistant for 100,000 gold pieces, so that way she can get a once per game, she can re-roll a failed regeneration roll. Now, for league points on this one, unfortunately didn't score any league points, so she's still at 22 league points in total. Her new record now is at 5 wins and 2 losses, and her team value now is at 1,830 points. So now let's talk about the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators real quick, the champions of Season 2 of Tales from the Tackle Zone. So for injuries, my friend Cedar Chain didn't suffer any injuries at all, and for advancements, 2 members of his team leveled up. Solar's blocker number 3, Crunchwrap, rolled the guard skill and increased his value by 10,000 gold pieces, and Skeek number 11, Soft Taco, became MVP for this team, and he rolled the block skill, earning his gold value by 20,000 gold pieces as well. Now there's no change in his dedicated fan base, so he's still at 5 dedicated fans. Now from his winnings, he managed to score 75,000 gold pieces from this game, as well as 100,000 gold pieces from winning the championship, and when combined with the 5,000 gold pieces he already had in his treasury, it gives him 180,000 gold pieces in total. At this time, he decided to save all of it, and the reason why is because he wants to actually recruit a Zolcath the Zote. If we decide to do Season 3 of this campaign, he wants to be able to recruit that star player for his team. So, pretty smart idea, actually. Now, for recruitment, he didn't recruit anybody at this time, nor did he purchase any inducements. He earned 1 league point for causing 5 casualties in this game, and another league point for scoring 4 more touchdowns, and also 3 league points for winning this game, which gave him a grand total of 25 league points in total. His new record now is at 5 wins and 2 losses, and his team value is at 1,790 points. Alright, so this is the data that shows the overall campaign data for Tales from the Tackle Zone Season 2 with all of our league records. In first place were the Gwaka'Moli Crater Gators of the Lizardmen, played by my friend Senior Chang, with 5 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws. They got 20 touchdowns over the course of the season, inflicted 25 casualties, and scored 25 league points. In second place were the Champions of Death, the Shambling Undead, played by my little sister Shade, with 5 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws, 17 touchdowns, 22 casualties, and 22 league points. In third place were the Dwarf Giants of the Dwarves for my friend Iron Major. He also earned additional gold coins as well for actually finishing third overall. I believe it was 10,000 or was it 30,000? It might have been 30,000 gold pieces. I got to double check. But he ended the campaign with 3 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 8 touchdowns, 13 casualties inflicted, and 16 league points. In fourth place were the Bogenhofen Barons of the Imperial Nobility, played by my friend King Khalifa, with 3 wins, 3 losses, 0 draws. He scored 10 touchdowns over the course of the season, inflicted 11 casualties, and scored 15 league points. In fifth place was my team, the Scarcrag Snivellers of the Goblins. I managed to win 3 games, lost 1 game, drew 1 game. I also had scored 9 touchdowns over the course of the season. I inflicted 17 casualties and scored 14 league points. In sixth place were the Thunder Valley Greenskins of the Blackguards, played by Mama Khan, who really suffered in this campaign, but did pretty well overall considering all the losses she took. She had 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. She has 9 touchdowns, 8 casualties she inflicted, and 12 league points. In 7th place was my New World Conference team, the Wolfenburg Crypt Stealers of the Necromantic Horrors, played by yours truly. I had 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw with that team, with 9 touchdowns, 8 casualties I inflicted, and scoring of 12 league points. In 8th place were the Elfheim Eagles of the Elf Union, played by my friend Freshman's Belair, with 2 wins, 3 losses, 0 draws. They managed to score 9 touchdowns, inflict 8 casualties, and scored 11 league points overall. In 9th place was the Scraven Bright Scramblers of the Skaven, played by my little sister, the Kiddo. She got 2 wins, 3 losses, 0 draws. She managed to score 8 touchdowns this season, inflict 8 casualties, and also scored 11 league points. In 10th place was Nurgle's Rotters of the Chaos Chosen, playing my friend Dark Lord Mac. He got 2 wins, 3 losses, 0 draws. He scored 8 touchdowns this season, inflicted 10 casualties, scored 9 league points. In 11th place is the Reichland Reavers of the Humans, played by my friend Sister Serial. She got 2 wins, 3 losses, and 0 draws, scoring 7 touchdowns this season, inflicting 3 casualties, and 39 league points. And dead last in 12th place was the Gouged Eye of the Orcs, played by my friend Brother Grimm. He had a perfect season, poor guy, of 0 wins, 5 losses, no draws. He scored 6 touchdowns, inflicted 3 casualties, and only got 1 league point during the entire campaign. So this is the league data that we had for our teams, and it was an absolute blast. So that draws a conclusion from Tales from the Tackle Zone Season 2. This is our League After Action report, and this was an absolute blast to participate in. I am not going to lie. My gaming group and I were dreaming to do a full-blown Blood Bowl League with all 12 teams in the studios and collection. Unfortunately, just real life got in the way with COVID-19 really throwing a monkey wrench in our plans, plus some of my friends got laid off from work. I got laid off. Some of us suffered injuries. Some of us got sick, so because we really couldn't really meet up all that often for normally in order to play. So because of that, it was kind of nice to finally be able to lock this in and actually get this done as well. Now, granted, we made a ton of rules mistakes during the course of this campaign. We're also very much unaware of some very useful game mechanics like tactics, and that's because we're novices. We don't usually play Blood Bowl on the regular. This is the very first real time we actually played a full-blown league for the most part, so there's some things we just didn't know about and some things we just got wrong. For example, hiring apothecaries, I suggest you hire one or get some version of it as soon as possible. It really helps out with casualties, as well as journeyman game mechanic. That was another important one that could have really helped out a lot of our teams who suffered a ton of injuries during this season, and we kind of learned about that rule as we were playing, and it's like, oh, that's what a journeyman is. So that was kind of interesting as well. And like I said, this was our very first real campaign for this game system, so we're always learning something new on this one. And the most common question that would probably be popping up is, will there be a Season 3? We hope there will be eventually. We'd like to come back and play Blood Bowl again for a 3rd season by kicking these teams and carrying on with the 3rd season. The only difference, though, is that finding a time to actually play another season of Blood Bowl. And the reason why is because my gaming group and I have been brewing up something special for the channel, and that is the return of Mordheim battle reports. So we'll be coming in and bringing in some more goodness from the City of the Damned for you guys to witness on this channel. And at the same time, we're also doubling down on Necromunda as well in this channel. So we're going to be alternating every Monday with our Ashways campaign with a second Necromunda campaign. This one is a Dark Uprising campaign. So we're going to look at the Fall of Hive Arcos and see exactly how that goes about as well. So maybe once we're done with our Mordheim campaign and our Dark Uprising campaign, maybe we'll come back to Blood Bowl. We'll just see how the stars align in that situation. Either way, if we don't come back to it, or if we do come back to it, this whole experience has been awesome. And I'm extremely grateful that I was able to play these games with my gaming group, that we could all get together, roll some dice, and play some games, because it was kind of rough there for a little bit for all of us to get games in together. So I'm extremely grateful that we were able to do this. And as always, I am ready for a rematch at any time, any place, with any of my friends, because it's always an awesome time. So that's good for this campaign, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always, and always appreciated. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We will catch you guys next one. It's been awesome. It's been real. That's another campaign in the books. See you guys on the next one.